Welcome to our Watch Kit app from Edgionics. My name is Brett, and in this lesson, we're going to see how to do interactive messaging. Now, the difference with interactive messaging is it's not a background kind of transfer of data between the iPhone and the watch. It's more of a real-time kind of user-engaged type of data. And there's a key thing you need to do whenever you're working with interactive messaging, and that is to test for reachability to make sure the watch, for example, is there and you can send data to it because you want the watch to basically be in the foreground. So we're not doing background transfers with this kind of data transfer anymore. Okay, so to start this, I am on the iPhone side and I'm in the view controller of the iPhone. And so if I bring up our storyboard, here's what we have. And we've got our send data button there. And so this is what we're going to use to send our data because we have that enumeration, and that way we can send different data using it. So down here we have user info. I'm going to add one now for messaging. And then we need to add a case for that as well. So it's going to be messaging, and we're going to do a send message. And so we need to create this. All this right here also is inside of our extension. So I am going to add a mark down here. It's going to be for messaging. And I'll create a function, send message. And this is where we're going to send our message. I can go ahead and stub out the receive as well, but I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do the send message and then we'll go into the receive, so I don't want to jump too far ahead. All right, so what we are doing here is if WC session, default session, and we're going to do reachable. So remember, this message, this function is getting wrapped inside of another function. And by that I mean, if we go back up to where this was set up right here, so what we're doing is we're calling these functions and they're wrapped inside of this paired. So here's our send message, and so the pairing will get checked. Then we're also going to additionally check to make sure it's reachable. So what we want here is a send message. So we're going to do WC session, default session, and send message. The one we want is the one with the dictionary. We're not going to use the NS data, so I'm going to go ahead and get that one. And then inside of here, I'm just going to do a dictionary for M key. And actually, I need to complete my dictionary. And then here I'll do phone message. And then we're going to have the reply handler. So down here, so I'm double clicking these and it's causing them to go ahead and expand the code out inside of this string any object. I am going to go ahead and double click, then I get this, and right here's where I'm going to put my code, and all I'm going to do is a print. So this is the callback in case something happens and the watch gets the message, then the watch sends something back, for example, saying that there was a successful receive of the message, and maybe it's just a confirmation that it sends back. So I'm going to do reply from watch on messaging. So that's all that will be. And I'll close this off. And then down here where this error is, I'm just going to double click. That'll expand that one out. So I can do all these in line whenever I double click them. And here I'm going to do another print. And what I want is error occurred on phone in messaging. So error occurred on phone in messaging. And I believe that's it. Xcode may come in here and do a few different things to clean some of this up. I'm going to go ahead and do a build, see if Xcode wants to make some modifications here. And there are some. So let's see, this placeholder it doesn't like. So what I can do there is double click that. So that gets rid of the placeholder, I believe. And then this NS error, I'll double click that. That should get rid of the placeholder. And let's try another build on that. Unnamed parameter, so I'll let it fix that. And insert underscore, so right there. It's just creating the underscore for the dictionary. We're not going to use the variable, so it's putting in this underscore. Oops, I don't want that breakpoint. All right, so that is our send. And now what we can do is work on the receive part of this. So when the watch sends something back, we'll get it. So I'm going to do session, and what I want is did receive message, and I want the one with the dictionary, which is this one. So right on the money here. And then I'm going to just print out that message received from watch, and then I'll go ahead and capture whatever it is we're getting back. So message received from watch. And here, actually, I'm going to put this in a label. I'm going to do self watch. I think we have, is it watch data? Is that label that we have? Yes. So we can use that. Self watch data. And I want to do text. And what we're going to do is grab the M key out of here. So it's going to be the same, the watch is using the same key that we're using. So this is going to be M key. And I'm going to cast as a string because that is going to be coming back as a string. Xcode probably wants to do like a force unwrapped here, so you can see that. And since this is a string, we can just do the question mark because strings are going to be empty string. You don't have to worry about null. So if I would have let Xcode do this, I think it will complain again. So it's going to say this. This is the explanation. It wants to use the optional to perform a conditional downcast. It's saying the string as an optional will never produce a nil. So that's why the question mark is there for that optional, because you don't ever have the nil with the string. All right, so I'm going to save that. Now we can work on the watch. So what I want to do is get the receive going for the watch. And if I scroll down, so here's user info, and I am going to make a space for messaging. And I'll just do this. And what I want to do now is go ahead and do something for the receive. So session did receive message, and I think we can do the reply handler on this one. And we're going to print, then we're also going to get the item out and put it into a label. So this is going to be message received from watch. Actually, it's going to be message received from phone. And here, what we can do is go ahead and print to one of our labels. So what do we have here? We have stadium name is fine. So we'll do stadium name, set text. And in here, we're going to get message. We have M key. We need to cast, and we're going to do another optional as string. So that should be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and push the watch. We're at the watch app, so I'll push that out, and that will be on the simulator with the latest code. Then we'll run the debugger on the phone, but we should still see the watch. All right, so the watch should have the latest code, and I can go ahead and start the watch in the simulator. So let's go back to home and start our app up. I don't think that's actually the one. Let's see. Hardware, home. Try this. All right, there we are. And now we can go ahead and start the iOS app. Going to get an iPhone 5 here and run. And so, actually, I don't think we have our user or our button wired up to use the messaging. So let's see, where is our send? So we have send data user info when we actually want messaging. So let's restart this and go ahead and run now. So when we click our button, it should call the messaging part of this. And I'm going to open up the debugger and bring back the simulators. And let's see, we have send data. So let's see if we get our debug printout. Not paired with watch. So I am going to go ahead and home. I'm going to remove some of these because we're starting to accumulate a few different things here. Let's see if we can. All right, so there goes that one. And just remove this one. Let's see, remove, if I can, remove this one over here. All right. And I think I want to remove that, or maybe this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a new push out to the watch. Let's see, ignore. I'm going to stop the debug on the iOS app because I don't want them running at the same time in debug mode. That usually will cause problems. All right, so let's bring up the simulator for the watch. See if our app starts up. Still not seeing anything, so I'm going to go ahead and try this again. All right, good. And if I go to home, let's see, what do we have for the number of apps on here? Just the one, so that'll make things really easy. I'm going to go ahead and start that and start the iOS app. And now go ahead and start the watch. So let's see if we get anything different on our printout down here. Send data. All right, so we are paired. There is phone message, so our data is getting sent to the watch, and this is using the messaging. So what we want to do now is we're going to make use of the send button on the watch and send it back to the iPhone. All right, so in our interface controller, we're going to add the functionality here, and actually we need to do this in our button. So this is the button we're going to use. I'm just going to add a comment for messaging, and I can go ahead and comment out this, and then down here we're going to have for our messaging. So what I want to do is WC session default session dot, actually this didn't complete, default session reachable, and now I can go ahead and send message. So I'm going to do session send message, and we're going to use this first one here. That's all we need because it has the dictionary. We don't want to use the NS data for this. And so what I'm going to do is an M key. So we'll have M key, and then I'll have for the message that we're sending across from watch. So it'll fit nicely in a label. And then here I can just do a nil. So I'm not going to worry about that. I also can do a nil here. Just make everything really simple. And then I want to print. And so here I'm going to just do sent message to phone. And so now I need to push this out to the phone, to the watch, so that we have our latest on the simulator. All right, so there it is. Nothing changes for the phone, so I should be able to open that up on the simulator. I guess that's going to be over here on this page. And let's see, watch test. Yeah. So I think right here, this from watch label should change. So I'm going to go down here, send. Let's see if we have watch session activated. So looks like there's some issues with the simulator on the watch. I'll have to restart that. Just part of the game when working with these simulators. So go ahead and start the watch. And let's see. All right, watch session activated. Go ahead and send again. Looks like that was received. Sent message to phone. Well, it was sent, but all right, so there it is. Now it was received from Watch. So now we have full communication going on between all of these. We're able to send from the phone to the Watch and from the Watch to the phone using messaging.